Ladies and gentlemen, this is Podversaire. Young in Love.
Hello. It's another episode of Young in Love, and I am super excited because it is the Podversaire episode. Can you believe it? 1 whole year of non-stop podcasting. Like, I'm feeling myself so much right now. I'm excited, I'm happy, and I want you to catch this vibe. Young in Love podcast is 1 year old. And now, to mark this anniversary, on my Instagram account, younginlove_podcast, I asked my followers to ask questions that are pressing. Questions that they would like to know about me, about my podcast, about anything, and a lot of people ask questions, even on Facebook too. Our page on Facebook, a lot of people asked questions, and so if you ask the question, I'm going to be answering it here. Please pay attention. This question is from Ezine Val. Sophie, you asked, what do you have to say about men that tell their women to discard all the gifts their previous men got them? So first off, before I start, I'm going to say this. I'm not a relationship expert. I do not hold myself out as one. But I'm going to be giving my 2 cents. Now, it depends on the gift, actually. Because there are some gifts that are very personal. Like, if your ex got you a gift, like a framed picture of himself and yourself, you might not want to keep a gift like that around when you're in a new relationship. Or stuff that would definitely remind your new partner of your ex. Like, you really want to discard that. But if it's me, there are some gifts you get for me. And like a handbag, a dress, a shoe, those things are not really personal. They don't have his identity on it. So gifts like that, you can keep them. But those more personal ones, be considerate, you might want to discard them. Adobe Ufondo asked, how have you managed to be consistent and active on the podcast for a whole year? Babe, I'm going to tell you something. It's passion and determination. First and foremost, I am very passionate about podcasting. Even times when it crosses my mind, like, girl, you need to stop, you're spending so much, or this is time consuming, or are people really listening to what you're doing? Because I'm passionate about what I'm doing, I don't count the cost. So I've been passionate, and that's how I've stayed consistent. Because when you love what you do, it's very easy to stay consistent. This does not mean that obstacles will not come, but when they come, it just means that you love what you do enough to find a way around those obstacles. She also asks, were there times when you wanted to just end everything and let's go? No, because I love what I do. I love podcasting. I'm not a quitter. I think that might be one of my strengths. I don't quit easily. There's not been a time where I felt like quitting. What did you do to keep encouraging yourself even when you felt energy leave you? Wow. I tell myself that the reward is always going to be worth the stress, or even more so. When energy is leaving me, when I'm tired and all, I just, clap for myself, encourage myself, go, keep going and stuff. In fact, when I recorded the last episode 12, yes, I was very sick. Episode 11 and 12, I was sick. I was running a fever, but my mom is a nurse. I told her to get me 1 or 2 things. She did. And I came to the studio to record with my guest. I wasn't feeling myself that day, but I did it anyway. So if you feel energy leave you anytime, you should encourage yourself. Now, she also asked, educate us upcoming content creators and how to keep dishing out content against all odds. First, you should find a niche. What is it that you're passionate about? What do you like talking about? Is it sports, music, entertainment, religion, politics, whatever it is? You should find a niche. And then when you do, I think it's also important for you to identify your source of inspiration. For me, my source of inspiration has been people, real issues, and social interactions. I think it's important to identify your source of inspiration because it helps you pay attention to those sources. You can be your own source of inspiration. And a classic example of a content creator who has herself as her source of inspiration is Florence Cathy. She started The Council. You can check on Instagram at The Council. So she says her videos are basically expressions of the dramas that go on in her head. It's important to identify your source of inspiration so that you can pay attention to those sources. Okay, for instance, if your source of inspiration is current affairs or politics, when things are happening in the country, you draw inspiration from those events and then you can create content around stuff like that. Again, do not pressure yourself. Let your creativity flow. if it's not flowing, then it's not natural. So you're going to feel that creating content is so much work. If you pressure yourself, you might find that you're constantly releasing less than satisfactory content. So just be natural, let your creativity flow, so that you can create premium content. Now, someone else asked, Valerian Wadike, he asked, are you in a relationship? Bruh, this babe is single to stupor. Single pringle. I'm single and I've been single since like 2018. Relationships, they fear me these days. Alright, so on to the next question. Yeah, he's also asking, what motivated the whole podcast idea and where did you get inspiration from? I think I already answered this in the previous one. And what motivated the whole podcast idea is this: I love love. I love seeing people in love. I love being in love. I love loving. I love being loved. So if you know me personally, you already know this. After a season of heartbreak and disappointments, I needed a channel to like pour myself and my love into. And podcasting was it for me. It was it is it, and it will continue to be. It's very therapeutic. Currently I'm motivated to keep doing more, majorly because of the feedback I get. When people listen to episodes and they're like, girl, this episode was so relatable, I loved it, I enjoyed it. It keeps me going. And that's why feedback is very important, So if you're a content creator, always ask for feedback from your listeners or your viewers, and you yourself consuming content. If you enjoy something, Kwano, say it. Don't just, some of you will just be scrolling on Instagram, you see something, you will laugh. Oh, tap, you cannot like. It's not fair. Like, comment, share. That is how some of these celebrities that you see, that's how they started. If their friends did not share their content, you will not see. Help somebody's ministry. Feedback is very important. Let's go on to the next question. Chiwendo Noha is asking, who is Kezia? Who's Kezia? I'm going to try not to describe myself in the cast in stone formats that we usually like. My name is this, I made this and that. I'm just going to say briefly, I'm just a young Christian lady experimenting with love and on a continuous journey of self-discovery. That's who Kezia is. Okay, so now he's also asking, what is your view between podcasting and being a barrister? You all know I'm a lawyer, right? Okay, so podcasting is more exciting for me actually than being a lawyer. Podcasting allows me to be creative, while being a lawyer places me within the bounds of the law. With podcasts, I never have to bow or say my lord, or ever hear stuff like my hands are tied, if you get what I mean. But with podcasting, my mind goes wild with my topics, with my discussions. But podcasting is not like a full-time thing. It's just a side gig and the rest of them. I'm in the real estate industry currently. Nanya EJ is asking, and guys, if you don't know Nanya, you should go check her out. She's a powerful musician in Lagos. She's asking, what's the vision for Young in Love podcast? This is a serious one. Well, with Young in Love podcast, I really just want to build a community of individuals who value relationships and are not afraid to tactfully confront the demons and issues. However subtle those demons are. You're not afraid to confront them, especially those issues that can ruin relationships. Individuals who will not give up on love. I'm building a community of individuals who are not going to give up on love. And I hope that Young in Love can grow to the point where people are talking about love and relationship. They just think Young in Love, straight up. Like, have you listened to Young in Love podcast? Have you listened to this and all of that, I also want Young in Love to someday metamorphose into a proper show, so that you will be able to place a face to the voice that you hear, and then there are other short-term and long-term visions for the podcast, but I'm not gonna spill everything now. Okay, so on to the next question. Pegediba is asking, first off, Pegediba, that's a very unique name, and I know the meaning, or I think I know the meaning, because Pegediba is from my place, Ogoni. Pegediba means money day, as in there's plenty money. Girl, I love your name. So she's asking, why are you too beautiful? Girl, when I tell you that God took his time with me, I mean it. Like, I'm a spec. I'm the complete package. Because if I don't have myself, who will? Let me even add, for those people who don't know, I'm Kezia, and Kezia means the anointed one. I'm going to tell you why I'm beautiful. I mean, one of the other reasons why I'm beautiful. So you can find my name in the Bible, in the book of Job, chapter 42, verse 13 and 14. But I'm not going to read it. I'm just going to lay emphasis on verse 15. Verse 15 in that chapter says that Job had 3 daughters. The first was Jemima, the second was Kezia, and the third was Keren Hapuch. But do you know what the Bible also adds about those girls? The Bible says that in all the land were no women found so beautiful as the daughters of Job. So I mean, like, I've never seen a Kezia who's ugly. So if you want your daughter to be beautiful, name her Kezia, and she's going to be beautiful, because we are following after our Hebrew predecessors. Now on to the next question. Godwin Ibok. He's asking, why do you podcast? And why have you stuck with it for a year? I'm passionate about it. I've answered this question before, and I stuck with podcasting because, I mean, it keeps getting better. And at this point, I can say podcasting has stuck with me too. Has it been worth it? He's asking. Absolutely. Podcasting has been worth it, you know, for this past 1 year. I would not have known how supportive my friends and family could be, not for podcasting, because I see the way they repost my episodes, they share the links, they give referrals. You guys are amazing people. You guys are so amazing. And if not for podcasting, I would not have known that I would enjoy this kind of support. And podcasting has also allowed me to meet a lot of amazing people like Veko, Sarah Oseki of the Edo Woman podcast, A Divine Moses, Luke of Us Table Talk, Toya C, Honesty to Know, Viola Ikene, and all of these amazing people. Shout out to you guys. So the next question here is, what could you have done better? And mention 3 things you wish you knew when starting out. How could I have done better? Right now, I cannot think of anything, if you mean with podcasting, of course. And 3 things I wished I knew. I can only think of one, and that is recording outdoor. Like, recording outdoor is such a bad idea. My first episode of Young in Love Podcast was recorded outdoor, and I recorded it with my phone. The noise from the environment was so much. This group of guys were just gisting and shouting on the top of their voices, and it got into my recording, and so I had to use like the background music to drown their voices, and it was just a disaster. If you listen to episode 1, you understand what I'm talking about. So one thing I wish I knew: don't record outdoor. If you don't have the noise reduction and noise cancelling equipment and all of that, don't record outside. Bad idea. What is your honest take on sex before marriage? And can you marry a non-Adventist? Okay, so a non-Adventist is someone who's not a member of the Seventh-day Adventist Church. So on the first question, if you want something long-term like marriage and all of that, sex can be very distracting. While it is pleasurable, it is also like capable of clouding your senses, such that you begin to think with your down below instead of your head, up above. And, my candid advice, and from a faith-based perspective, is that you abstain. When it comes to premarital sex also, you really want to be careful, because we live in an age of special packages. People are using all sorts of things to tie people down for different reasons. It could be money, could be to get you to make a commitment to marry them, give them whatever it is they want, houses, cars, expensive lingerie and all of that. So you really, really want to be careful, because it comes in different forms. A special package in quotes is anything at all, from powders to creams to ornaments and all sorts of waist beads, anklets, whatever it is. A special package is anything that is intended to make a person either love you or do stuff for you, whether they like it or not. Like, it's not within their control. Their senses are basically gone. You're in control. So that's what the special package is. A special package is like a love charm, a love potion, and all that. Some people rub it on their faces as powder. Some people rub it in their VJJ to attract all sorts of things. So you really want to be careful, so that you can make the right decision when it is time to marry. But if you're out there being everywhere, it's risky, very risky. So be careful. That's that on that. Can you marry a non-Adventist? Yes, though I've never really dated one, but I think, yeah, I can. So my producer extraordinaire, Sandra, is asking, what is life to you? I'm going to go a little spiritual because I'm a Christian, so I'm going to be answering from that perspective. Ecclesiastes 12:13 sums up what life is to me because it gives me purpose. It says, let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear God and keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of man. The whole duty. So in everything you do, career-wise, relationship, whatever it is you can think of doing in life, make sure that you're also doing your duty, which is to fear God and keep his commandments. So at your place of work, your social interactions and all of that, I don't usually rub my faith in, but since you asked, I'm answering based on how I perceive life. And I interpret life based on purpose. And that verse gives me purpose, like my whole duty here on earth. That's life for me. Now on to the next question. What are podcasting opportunities? Podcasting opportunities are avenues for you to achieve your goals for your podcast. Like, do you want to monetize? Do you want more audience? Is it fame you're chasing? Whatever it is you're chasing with your podcast, a podcasting opportunity allows you to achieve that. With monetization, for instance, avenues include sponsorship, adverts, affiliate marketing, and selling merchandise. That previous one was from The Dignified Muslima. She's a podcaster also. The next question is, what does it mean to be in love? This one is from Phoenix. You know that you're in love when your interaction with the person is selfless, but not self-destructive. We need to draw a line there. It's selfless. You want this person to be happy, especially because of you. You are quick to forgive. You refrain from hurting the person. You seek ways to please the person. You give freely. You're generous. No stingy people in this zone, I beg. You make sacrifices. Love is beyond you saying you want to do something. Love is you actually doing that thing, because love is an action word. It's a verb. It shows. Now, if you constantly find yourself second-guessing your emotions and your intentions towards a person, then just take a break. Pause. Because it's time for you to evaluate yourself. Because it might not be love. Love is unequivocal. Repete après moi. It is unequivocal. Some people blow hot and cold just to confuse you. 1 minute they are loving you, the next they are hating on you and all that. These folks don't love you. Take it from me. They don't love you. They're just catching cruise with you. Love is clear, is crystal clear, is transparent, is, like I said, unequivocal. Relationship do's and don'ts. This is a question from Toyo C. She's asking, what are some relationship do's and how did it go for me? Okay, so relationship do's: respect your lover, your partner, support your partner, be proud of your partner, forgive your partner. Forgive easily and quickly. Tell them you love them. Mean it and show it. You guys should spend time together, go on vacations together. Me, I love vacations, so I'm just calling it vacation now because I'm single. When I have bae, it's gonna be vacation, Then, if you need to correct them, do so in love, chastise in love, and apologize when you are wrong. Some of you, to say sorry they had. Apologize when you are wrong. Then stay committed, not jumping from pot of beans to pot of rice to everything. Just stay committed, focus. And then, if you're a religious person, if you're spiritual, pray for your partner and for your relationship. Finally, whatever is good, whatever is noble, whatever is pure, do it. Now, the next one she's asking is, have you ever been in an unidentified relationship, like no definition? Yes, I have been in such. Isn't that like entanglement or situationship? I don't know. It's not a nice place to be, I'm going to tell you. Well, except you're the beneficiary. If you're the one benefiting from that undefinition, be indefinition, then, you might like it. But if you're the one on the other end, then it's not a nice place to be. Because it's actually better to know your place in people's lives so that you don't exaggerate your role or underrate your role in their lives. Okay, so a baby to that question is, how did it go for me? Doing these things, like all the relationship do's I've just said, doing these things is not a guarantee that your relationship is going to be great, because it takes two to tango and the other person might not really appreciate these values, but it is more about who you are as a person, regardless of whether the values are appreciated or not. So sooner or later, I hope that someone who values these qualities will come along and, love you for those qualities, those values. I haven't been lucky myself, but I'm keeping the faith, because that's what I preach. I'm a preacher and woman of love. And I encourage you to do same. Keep the faith, because love comes to those who wait and believe. That's the last question. Thank you for participating, for asking your questions. I really appreciate. Now I'm going to be saying special thanks to our patrons who have taken the time to visit the podcast on patreon.com/younginlove. The very first person who took a chance on me on my podcast to support is Giuseppe. Please pardon me if I've murdered your name. I think that's Italian. He's the pioneer patron on our Patreon account. And I met him on a dating site, and since then he's been so supportive. He's just been a sweet gentleman. Thank you so much. The second person is Chisom. I don't want to pronounce his surname because he says I always murder it. So Chisom boy, you know yourself. Thank you so much. And the third person, I'm recognizing the first three persons. The third person is Chisom Ezete. I've known her since secondary school, and she's been nothing but a sweetheart. Thank you so much for supporting. Now, thank you to everyone who has referred my podcast to someone. I may not know you, I may know you, but the ones that I know, Daralji, you've been a darling. Thank you so much. Through you, a Divine Moses now listens to my podcast. Afro Wendy, Sarah Oseki, Osilaka, my family, my mom and my sister, you guys have been amazing. Chisom Shulamites, all the way from Ukraine. Thank you for supporting. Adobe, Ima Ogu, Okpulon, Joko Chinagos. The list is long. And if I haven't mentioned your name, it's not I cannot mention your name, but the list is so long. Thank you so much. And I want to say a special thank you to all my guests from episode 1 to episode 12. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much. From my analytics, the top episodes are episode 1, 2, 4, 5 and 10. If you haven't listened to those episodes, please do so. You would enjoy them. And to all of you listening from all of these different countries I'm going to mention now, I say a big thank you. The top 10 countries are Nigeria, US, UK, Ukraine, Germany, South Africa, Canada, Ireland, Ivory Coast and Australia. Other countries are Ghana, Singapore, Netherlands, Turkey, India, Colombia, Cyprus, Portugal, Switzerland, United Arab Emirates, Kenya, Finland, Zambia, France, Norway, Indonesia, Trinidad and Tobago, Jamaica, Costa Rica, Antigua and Barbuda, Latvia, Senegal, Cabo Verde, Bulgaria, Japan, Romania and Uganda. 37 countries in total. A podcast that originally started out with Nigeria as the target audience. I am flabbergasted. Thank you guys for listening to Young in Love Podcast. This is our Podversaire episode. As I said at the beginning, it's been 1 year of non-stop podcasting, and after this episode I'm going to be taking a long break because I'm working on moving the Young in Love Podcast to the permanent site. But before we go, I'm going to be inviting my producer Sandra, who's been an amazing person, to come and share some tips. It's like a mother bidding her daughter farewell, to the husband's house, go well my daughter, do this and all of that. So Sandra, please come and give us some tips. Okay, so Sandra, I've only told my listeners that you're my producer, so quickly introduce yourself.
Okay, hi everyone, I am Sandra, like she already said. I am the producer with Mega Electrics Limited, Port Harcourt, Nigeria.
Ooh. You're welcome. Thank you for doing this. I have podcasters who are listening. People ask so many times, are you a radio presenter? Your sound quality is so good. There's just been so many commendations about the sound quality of this podcast. So I thought it's going to be a good idea to bring you on. Since this is the Podversaire episode, and as I said, I'm moving the podcast to the permanent site. After now, I'm going to probably be editing my own episodes by myself. I'm going to be recording. So are there tips you'd like to share with me? What recording software or editing software would you recommend? What spec of mic would you recommend? Just anything as a farewell speech to me.
Okay, for starters, you need a good microphone. So I would always recommend a condenser mic. Okay. It's the sound quality is good when it comes to editing and whatnot. The sound quality is wonderful. That's
why is a dynamic mic not good?
It depends, really. You can't really compare the quality of a condenser mic because it kind of catches everything. But a dynamic mic, until you're talking directly into it. Yeah, and the sound quality, you cannot compare it. It's like Okay, I wanted to call brands, but I just realized that. Okay, well,
I mean, feel free. You can mention.
No, actually, the brand I was trying to compare a regular, comparing noodles. I was trying to compare noodles.
All right. I mean, but what brand would you recommend for me?
The one I use in my studio right now is a Newman.
Newman.
Exactly.
Okay.
But it's really expensive. Yeah.
Hey, people, are you listening? I mean, you can sow a seed in YIL Podcast. I don't mind.
Great. So well, if you can afford it, sure.
Yes.
Okay, so you would also need a sound card. The sound card helps to balance the audio quality from your computer or your microphone into the computer.
When you say sound card,
there are external sound cards, but you also have microphones that have an
built-in sound card.
But I've not really used a microphone that has a built-in, so I can't really tell how it would come out. But hopefully it works just as fine as regular external sound cards.
Okay.
Yeah, and then of course you have your system, and you need an editing software. I love Adobe Audition. In the office, I use the Adobe Audition 2014, but in my laptop at home, I use the 2020 edition.
Do you pay for it?
The one I use is the cracked edition.
Okay.
But if you're always going to be connected to the internet, you might as well have to pay for the original version. For someone like me that have different plugins, sometimes I have to pay for different things because one of these days might just block the thing.
Okay, I mean, so besides Adobe Audition, are there any other softwares, free ones?
Almost everything is free these days. Almost everything is cracked these days. Some people use Pro Tools, some people use Cubase, but I like to use Adobe Audition. It's easy, it's smooth. It's like.
Can you comment on Audacity? Because I hear a lot of people recommend that.
The only reason why I would use an Audacity is sometimes I change voices. Like I can change a voice to a baby voice or very much a voice. So I like to use Audacity for that.
For voice change. It's good for that.
It's very perfect. It's perfect compared to Adobe Audition. It's crap on Adobe Audition, but with that one.
I mean, finally, it feels good to hear something minus about Adobe Audition because the praise. So I mean, you're a pro, man. You're a pro. Okay, so that's that on that. You said something about condenser microphones.
Yes.
If I no longer record at the studio, I'm not going to have this luxury I can see here, the wall pads and all of that. So if I use a condenser microphone, how do I cope with noise, the ambience of the room and all of that?
I forgot to mention that you would need a pop filter and a mic shield. The mic shield is like, it gives you this surround. Of course, you have to have the place you're going to be recording has to be calm enough, right? But then it still gives it this coverage, not taking away the fact that you're still going to do your noise reduction in your
when you're editing.
In your DAW, you have to still do your noise reduction, but you need a pop filter. The pop filter protects from plosives. And then the mic shield helps.
Must the mic shield cover you round or just the mic?
It just covers. There are so many types, right? So I think the more the money, the more the size, the money. So the one you can afford, but as long as
the larger the size, the more expensive it is.
Yes. Right. So the one you can afford, but first of all, you have to make sure that you're recording in a very serene environment, so that the noise will not be too much to handle.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you must record in the night.
What?
Or if you have.
How do I tell my guests to come over at night?
Or if you're living in an environment that is not noisy, it could help you too. Because my house is really calm, so that helps. And if you want to use a sitting room, so just go around and clap. Make sure you find a spot that doesn't have a lot of echo.
Okay, nice. I mean, some people record on their beds with the pillow serving as the mic shield.
Okay.
And it comes out well. So
I mean, whatever works, as long as the quality is good, because quality sound really helps, because that's what brings people back to the podcast. Nobody wants to listen to something that has
yeah.
So
I mean, that's why I've been with you for a year.
And you want to live.
I mean, this is like mixed feelings over here. Thank you, Sandra, so much for being here. I'm sure the podcasters, because I'm a part of the podcasters of Nigeria community, and they would love you for this. Thank you so much.
You are welcome.
Thank you. So guys, if in the subsequent episode you notice a slight change in sound quality, please don't crucify me. I mean, I'm going to get better at this game of editing and all of that, but at this point, Sandra has trained me and it's mixed feelings. Like, I'm happy to leave because Young in Love is moving to the permanent side, but at the same time, leaving Sandra has been my producer, my consultant, my everything, you know. So thank you so much for the tips and all of that. Guys, I'm going to miss you because I'm going on a break, but don't go anywhere. I'll be back before you know it. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. Mwah. Thank you for listening to this episode of Young in Love. I hope you enjoyed it. Now, if you did, you can rate us and write a review on Apple and Google Podcasts. Feel free to like our social media pages on Facebook and Instagram at YoungInLove_podcast. Share this podcast with your family and friends. Subscribe to Young in Love Podcast on Apple and Google Podcasts, Anchor, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. If you'd like to support Young in Love Podcast, you can do this on our Patreon account by visiting patreon.com/YoungInLove and making a small monthly donation of as little as $1 every month or 350 naira monthly, or even bigger donations as you feel led to. But hey, if you cannot make any donations, that's fine too, because besides just money, Young in Love Podcast has thrived and will continue to thrive on the prayers and good wishes of good people like you. Until the next episode, bye and be good.
Young in Love.